A GOP congressional candidate has some thoughts about the Constitution. Summarized in this tweet, Laverne Spicer says, there are no pronouns in the Constitution. Now, that would be the dumbest thing to say if it was true. If it was true and there were no pronouns, who the hell cares? What does that have to do with your little attempt to start up a culture war and all that? But you'll be shocked to find out there are in fact some pronouns in the Constitution. Now, to be fair, you have to really dig in to the core of it to find one, but we've tracked it down like a national treasure. It's "we the people" has a pronoun in it. It's the start, it's the first part. It's right there at the beginning, the "we." It's right there, it's "we," it's me and you. I can read it, you can read it, assuming that you've ever even looked at the Constitution, you might have found it. But as shocking as that is, did you know there are other pronouns in there too? In fact, Greg tracked down 2 we's, 12 they's, 20 theirs, 6 thems of themselves. Only 1, mind you, 23 he's, 6 his's, 4 ours, 1 ourselves. I like that one best. This and that and those has several dozen as well. They're all up and down the Constitution. You can't go a sentence without finding one. Unless, of course, you don't go a sentence in the first place, because Laverne Spicer is a GOP congressional candidate, wants to represent Florida's 24th district, and she's not going to be bothered to do research or reading or whatever. Why would she have to? She put out that tweet that is on its face ridiculous, and bear in mind, it has, as of this morning, 1,400 retweets and 12,500 likes. Because she doesn't need to be smart if she's appealing to the dumb. She can cosplay. I don't know if she's the smartest person in the country, I don't know. But she's cosplaying being a moron because she's trying to appeal to bigoted morons. That's what she's doing, JR.
Moron is an underrated, underused term. First off, let's start there. I enjoy it every time. The Republican Party and conservatives in general have this thing about having a war on something all the time. This is the war now on pronouns. It's not just now, because anytime someone puts it in their bio, on their social media, or says, just points out their pronouns. What the problem is this is too much of normalcy of human beings. Conservatives like her need to make sure we continue to cut off this potential mindset that there are humans among us that are different than you are. This is the problem, a war on pronouns. Conservatives are afraid of words. They're literally afraid of words because what they mean will go against their alternate form of reality that they're feeding to their followers. Apparently, to her particular followers, over 12,000 of them, who think that pronouns will hurt you. What are pronouns gonna do to you? What are you afraid of? Can you pull out your AR-15 and shoot up some pronouns so that they don't come for you anymore? Is Satan a pronoun? No matter what, as long as you connect it to the most fearful things, look at these people coming for us. Now, if you start using pronouns, or if you acknowledge that people have different pronouns than what you would perceive for them to have, they're coming for your children, they're coming for your jobs, they're coming for your country. When are we gonna go back to oppressive laws that keep people from being who they are? This is the basis for people running for office. And you know what? She's on to something. That's the saddest part. She's on to something.
No, that's why I pointed out the retweets. She's savvy. She knows what you need to do, and all that you need to do is put out this sort of stuff. Now, again, I have no. She could literally be a professor of whatever. I don't know. I know that she's grifting. I know that she is attempting to get people to focus on the fact that there are no she's in the Constitution, so that they don't think about the fact that she's going to be a vote for stripping away your rights and maintaining the economic dominance of the 1% and all that. And she's doing what she needs to do to get elected. And I want to give her credit in another way too. So she had another tweet, because she's always on this pronoun thing. She tweeted, "I am Laverne Spicer. My pronouns are kiss my black ass, and I am a woman who is sick of virtue signaling leftists like Kamala Harris. Go call Willie Brown and leave America alone, woman." So that last sentence, absolutely disgusting. I am gonna give her credit though. Of all of the pronoun jokes, "I am Laverne Spicer, my pronouns are kiss my black ass," I think is actually the funniest that I've heard. That's actually not that bad. We've been saying since the 6th that not doing something about the people who inspired this, which Trump is obviously the biggest figure, but he is hardly the only person that contributed to this. And so it's a little bit frustrating that he's like the only person that's actually being investigated right now, is going to lead to more people doing it. And I want to remind you all that there's a lot of Republicans out there that are getting increasingly comfortable with the sort of both rhetoric and possibly like clear acts of terrorist violence that we've been seeing that are still out there, and they're watching to see what happens. Let's talk about Michigan Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey, who was caught on tape making cracks about physical violence against Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who last year was the target of a kidnapping plot by right-wing militia extremists. So he was making cracks about her. We're gonna define those, but understand that he's not that far off of Trump, who thought that when she had almost been kidnapped, there was really an issue of her not being appreciative enough, and she shouldn't have sucked at her job if she didn't want to be kidnapped and murdered by a militia. He was also, by the way, to tie this to Marjorie Greene, who we've been talking about, he was recorded spreading lies about the January 6th attack on the US Capitol that was carried out by pro-Trump insurrectionists, calling it a hoax and staged. He said that wasn't Trump's people. That's been a hoax from day one. That was all prearranged. Well, yes, it was prearranged by Trump. They were desperately trying and spending millions of dollars to get people there. And then as soon as it succeeds, Antifa did it. But anyway, it was arranged by someone who was funding it. It was all staged. Again, Trump, like reports have now shown like $3.5 million that were routed from Trump to organizers for the January 6th. So he's on to something, just not necessarily what he thinks. This guy, again, is the majority leader of the Senate in Michigan, Republican. He, just to define what he said about the governor, he, let's see, he bragged about metaphorically spanking the governor, saying we've spanked her so hard on the budget. This is a video that's on YouTube. Spanked her hard on appointments. At another point, he said, I did contemplate once or twice, I did contemplate inviting her to a fist fight on the Capitol lawn. And he said all of this a week after the plot against her was revealed. So after we found out that these psychos wanted to kidnap her and at the very least murder her, he thought, well, we should be joking about spanking her, and I would have really loved to have punched her on the face on the Capitol lawn.
Because all that makes sense. All that is great for democracy. All that's great for unity. All that is will dispel the fact that you motivate people to go and commit violent acts against their political opponents, because all that proves it. No, in fact, it pushes it further. Just you can say, I didn't say anything. By the way, this all goes to the same talking point. It's just in different ways, from Marjorie Greene to everyone else. Trump's people are everywhere, I thought. Remember, there's Trumps in boats. There's Trumpers in golf carts. There's Trumpers in trucks, caravans of Trumpers. They're everywhere. That's why we know that he won the election. I'm not lying. That's one of the arguments. He won the election because of Trumpers in trucks. But at the same time, where the hell were all the Trumpers on January 6th?
Why didn't they go?
They're everywhere from January 20th of 2017 all the way up until January 5th. Of 2021. Suddenly they're nowhere to be found. On January 6th, suddenly Antifa and Libs and Bernie Sanders supporters are the ones holding Trump flags. So where the hell were they? They're at home? Did they stop? And all the rest of the time, heard the rabid supporters. In fact, your impeachment attorney told us they're rabid supporters and they motivate and they move. But on the day that he has a crowd full of people yelling and cheering at everything he says, they weren't there. Where were they?
Where were they? Yeah, there was some stuff that was going to be rotating off of Netflix, and they wanted to watch it before it was gone. Yeah, and a follow-up question that's being in the chat right now: why did Charlie Kirk send dozens of buses full of Antifa to the Capitol? Like, why did he do this?
Deep state.
But again, this is what they believe. And let's see. Last week, Shirkey expressed empathy for the Capitol rioters, saying it was people feeling oppressed and depressed, responding to what they thought was government just stealing their lives from them. And I'm not endorsing or supporting their actions, but I understand where they're coming from. You're 100% supporting their actions. But again, you don't think they did it. So was it just Antifa that was oppressed and depressed? And I'm not supporting Antifa, but like I get why they did. None of this makes any sense.